This lecture here is all about the various factors which actually determines the extent of the crystal field splitting in case of the transition metal complexes. You can see here we have a list of the various factors upon which the magnitude of splitting actually depends. The first one is what it is the nature of the ligands, of course, because what type of ligands are present and surrounding the central metal ion, they will definitely be affecting the magnitude of the crystal field splitting, right? Now, if we are considering the tetrahedral type of complex, the splitting pattern is something like the 3d orbitals are present on the upside of the energy level diagram and the 2 orbitals are present below like this, such that these are the E set of orbitals and these are the T2 set of orbitals. Okay, and whatever magnitude, I mean from here to here, this magnitude of splitting is there, it will definitely be affected by what type of ligands are there which are surrounding the central metal ion. And it is not only the case of the tetrahedral geometry, even in case of other geometries like the octahedral or the square planar complexes or any other geometry, the different ligands which are surrounding the metal ion, they will be affecting the magnitude or the extent of this crystal field splitting, right? And the second thing is what it is the metal ion, of course. Now you can see here the metal ion can affect the magnitude of splitting in two different ways. The first one is the oxidation state on the central metal ion, and the second thing is what type of d orbitals are present in that central metal ion, right? So in this way it will also be affecting the magnitude of the crystal field splitting. And in the last, what we have is the geometry of the complex, right? So like if we talk about some metal complex in which 4 ligands are there, it can have either a square planar type of geometry or it can have a tetrahedral type of geometry. So depending upon this thing, the magnitude of the crystal field splitting will also depend, right? So we will be talking about all these factors in a good detail one by one. So starting with the very first factor, which is the nature of the ligands, right? And here you can see this is the spectrochemical series. Onto my extreme right hand side, these ligands are the strong field type of ligands which actually produces large degrees of splitting in the d orbitals, right? And onto my left side are present the weak field type of ligands which causes a small degree of splitting in case of the d orbitals. Okay, so one thing I want to make sure here is that it is not possible to explain that why this type of order is there in this spectrochemical series and why there are present some ligands on the extreme right hand side which are strong field and why these are present on the extreme left hand side and they are acting as the weak field type of ligands. Okay, so you can see from here it is quite difficult to explain this order properly because it incorporates the effects of both the sigma as well as the pi bondings from these ligands. Okay, but definitely to some extent, yes, we can explain that why we have this particular type of order, and some are strong field ligands or some are weak field ligands, and what are the relative positions of these different ligands in this type of spectrochemical series. Okay, now let us try to understand that what are the different reasons that are responsible for this type of arrangement of all these ligands in this type of particular order, right? So at one go, we will not be able to explain all the ligands or the arrangement of all the ligands in this series here. We can only do this part by part. Okay, so let us first of all start with this part of the spectrochemical series in which you can see that the fluoride ion is present here on this side, and after which the chloride, bromide and iodide ion, they are present in this way. Okay, this means that the fluoride ion is relatively a strong field type of ligand as compared to the other halide ions, right? Because while moving from this direction to this direction in this spectrochemical series, we know on this side lies the weak field ligands, and on this side lies the strong field type of ligands. Okay, so right now I am not discussing whole of the series at one time. I am only discussing this part of the series which is about the halide ions, right? So fluoride is relatively a stronger ligand, a strong field ligand as compared to that of the iodide ion, but it is definitely a weak field type of ligand if we talk about the whole of the series here, right? I can say here that up to the ammonia molecule here, all these ligands are the weak field type of ligands. Let me write here the weak field type of ligands. And after that, I mean after ammonia, the ligands are what? These are the strong field type of ligands. These are the strong field type of ligands, right? Now, in order to explain that why fluoride ion is relatively a stronger ligand as compared to that of the other halide ions of the halogen family, we can say that the ligands which are smaller in size, they produces a greater crystal field splitting, or they produces a higher magnitude of crystal field splitting. So this thing can be easily understood on the basis of size. So you can see here that if we are having a same metal cation and we are discussing the bonding of the different types of halide as ligand, let us say in one case the fluoride, then is the chloride, after that bromide and iodide, we can say here that because the fluoride ion is smaller in size as compared to other halide ions, so what it can do is it can go more close to the central metal ion. Okay, the approach of the fluoride ion will be very close to the central metal cation because of its small size. Let me write here because of its small size here. Okay, and it is very clear that if some ligand is approaching very close to the central metal cation, what will happen is there will be present a lot of interactions. And what type of interactions will be there? Of course, these will be repulsions, because these are considered to be negative charges or the point charges. So higher the repulsions means the energy of the system will also go higher, and that is why the splitting magnitude will also be high in case of some small sized ligands, and that is exactly happening in case of the fluoride ion, right? And as we are moving from fluoride to chloride and then to bromide and in the last the iodide ion, we will see that the iodide ion is larger in size and it cannot go much close to the central metal cation, not close enough up to which the fluoride ion can go. So it is present quite far away from the metal cation. Thus, the interactions will be less here in between the metal and the ligand, and of course the repulsions will also be less, leading to less amount of or the less magnitude of the crystal field splitting, right? So once again, I want to say here that we are trying to understand that why this type of order is there in this spectrochemical series, on which on the left hand side we have weak field ligands and on the right hand side we have strong field ligands. So we cannot explain whole of the series in one go. What we can do is we can discuss and we can understand, we can try to understand some parts of this spectrochemical series. Like in this slide here, we have discussed the case of the halide ions. The halide ion, which will be smaller, it will go more close to the metal ion, causing higher repulsions, and thus the magnitude of crystal field splitting, I mean this thing, will also be high here, right? And on the other hand, the halide ion, which is having a larger size, it won't be able to go much close to the metal ion, resulting in lesser interactions, lesser repulsions, and thus what will happen is the magnitude of splitting will also be less in that case, right? So now let us move on to the other type of ligands, okay? And in this case now let us talk about the last three ligands here, which are very strong field type of ligands. And let us try to understand that why these three ligands are present on the extreme right hand side of this spectrochemical series, producing a large amount of and a large magnitude of crystal field splittings, okay? So you can see here, before starting this this discussion here, you can read from here that the ligands having tendency to form multiple bonds with the metal ion, they produces greater amount of splitting, right? So first of all, let us take the case of the CO as the ligand. Now I want to say here that such type of ligands which can accept electrons from the metal ion into their anti-bonding type of molecular orbitals, they are known as the pi acceptor type of ligands, okay? Once again, dear students, we know that CO is what? CO is actually a type of ligand which contain electron pairs, and the role of ligand is what? It is simply to donate its electron pairs. Like this here, it is to donate the electron pairs, but at the same time there are present some ligands which can accept electrons into their empty anti-bonding molecular orbitals, resulting in the formation of pi type of bonds with the metal ion, right? These are also known as the pi acceptor type of ligands, okay? So actually the CO, cyano as well as the nitro, these all are the pi acceptor type of ligands. What they can do is they can first of all donate their electron pairs in the form of the sigma donation, and after that what will happen is that the metal ion T2G set of orbitals which contain electrons, let us say for any general case, what will happen is these will be donating electrons to the anti-bonding molecular orbitals which are empty, right? I'm talking about the ligand now, right? So on this side, this is for the ligand here, and this is what? This is for the metal here, right? So metal is giving back the electrons for the formation of a pi bond with this ligand here, and they are going to the empty anti-bonding molecular orbitals, right? So we have our ligand here, we have the metal ion, there is a sigma donation, and then there is also a back donation of electrons. Let me write here, this is the perfect word here, the back donation of the electrons to these anti-bonding empty orbitals, resulting in the formation of pi bond or the multiple type of bonds in between the metal and the carbonyl here, right? So such kind of ligands which have this tendency, I mean the formation of the multiple bonds with the metal ion, they always produce greater amount of splitting. So I think this portion of the spectrochemical series is also clear to you people, that why we are having this type of order, okay? And why these three ligands are present on the extreme right hand side, and they are strong field type of ligands as compared to the rest of the ligands here, right? And now there is a little more here which you can see is what, that if you have a look here on this spectrochemical series, these two ligands are having what? These are having carbon as the donor atom. These are having the nitrogen as the donor atom, and these two are having the oxygen atom as their donor atom, right? And we know that out of these three atoms, the oxygen atom is highly electronegative. This means it will be having a tendency to hold its electrons, and thus the donation of electrons from this oxygen atom will be quite difficult because of its high electronegativity, right? Now what happens is that suppose we are having some metal ion and there is present some ligand in which the oxygen atom is the donor atom. I mean, let us say these type of ligands. So because of the high electronegativity, the sigma donation will be quite low here, right? And if this sigma donation is low, the back donation of the pi electrons will also be low here. I mean, the back pi bonding will also be low in this case, okay? So we can say here that in those ligands in which the oxygen atom is acting as the donor atom because of its high electronegativity, the tendency to form the multiple bonds will also be low here, right? And now in case we are having nitrogen, because it is less electronegative as compared to that of the oxygen, so definitely the sigma donation here will be what? It will be moderate in nature. Thus the pi back donation will also be what? It will also be moderate. And we can say here that the tendency to form multiple bonds will also be moderate in case we are having some ligands in which the nitrogen atom is acting as the donor atom, right? So here you can see that we are talking about these two ligands here, right? And finally, we can have some ligand in which the carbon is acting as the donor atom, and because it is least electronegative, so it can easily give its electrons in this direction, resulting in the formation of high sigma donation, and thus the pi donation will also be high in nature, such that now I can write here that the tendency to form multiple bonds in case carbon is present, it will be what? It will be high here, right? So it is very clear in those ligands in which the carbon is acting as the donor atom because of its low electronegativity, the tendency to form multiple bonds will be very high, and thus out of this type of ligand, this ligand, and these type of ligands, the arrow will go like this. I mean, these ligands will be the strongest type of ligands. These are the strongest field ligands here, right? Which you can see here, it is going like this, okay? So we are having some ligands here in which the carbon is present as the donor atom, and followed by the ligands in which nitrogen is there as the donor atom, and finally those ligands in which the oxygen atom is present as the donor atom. The electronegativity is increasing in this direction, I mean of the donor atom, and the tendency to form multiple bonds, it is increasing in this direction, and thus the strength of the field will also be increasing in this direction. This means on this side we will be having very strong field type of ligands which will be producing high amount of or high magnitude of crystal field splitting, okay? So in this way we can explain that why such type of arrangement is there in this spectrochemical series. Some ligands are very strong field, some are moderately strong, and why some are weak field type of ligands. But at one time we cannot explain all this spectrochemical series, but what we can do is we can explain and we can discuss the whole of the series in different parts, and part wise we can always explain what is happening and what is the reason behind this type of order in this spectrochemical series, and the ligands are producing different types of or different magnitudes of the splitting patterns, and what is the reason behind all this. Now, as we know that a transition metal complex is made up of the metal ion and the ligands which are surrounding that metal ion. So we have just talked about the nature of the ligands, and we can say that the second important thing in any transition metal complex is what? It is the central metal cation, right? So definitely the magnitude of the splitting will also be dependent upon the metal ion in two different ways. The first one is the oxidation state of the metal ion, and the second is what? It is the type of the d orbitals present in that metal ion, okay? So you can read from here that the metal ions with high oxidation state, it produces large amount of crystal field splitting. Okay. And here in this diagram, you can see that if this is the metal ion and this is the ligand here approaching that metal ion, and let us say the Q1 and the Q2 are the magnitude of charges present on these metal ions and the ligands. We know from the laws of physics that the force is directly proportional to the product of these charges here, right? And if the oxidation state of the metal ion will be high, means for a higher oxidation state, obviously the value of Q1 will also be high here, right? And thus the force which is directly proportional to this product here will also be high, leading to higher repulsions and thus finally the high magnitude of splitting in case of d orbitals. Okay, and it is also proved from the experimental facts which you can just see here that in case of the vanadium ion which is present in +2 and +3 state, you can see the difference in the magnitude of crystal field splitting, where in case of +2 state the magnitude is 11,800. When it goes to a +3 state, the magnitude also increases from 11,800 to 18,000 centimeter inverse. Okay, and likewise even from chromium, if the oxidation state is increasing from +2 to +3, the magnitude of splitting is also increasing from approximately 14,000 to 17,800, right? And finally, we have the cobalt case, in which in going from +2 to +3 state, the magnitude of splitting is almost becoming double here from 9300 to 18600, right? So definitely, because there are only two important parts in any transition metal complex, the first one being the ligand and the second one is the metal ion, the magnitude of the crystal field splitting by the ligand will depend upon the nature of the ligand as well as the nature of the metal ion. I mean the oxidation state as well as the type of the d orbitals, which is our next topic of discussion. Okay, so in nutshell, I can say here that larger the size of the d orbitals, larger will be the interactions of these d orbitals with the ligands, and thus larger will be the repulsions and larger will be the splitting in that case. Okay, so here we will be comparing three different octahedral complexes in which we are having the same ammonia ligands which are 6 in number, as well as the oxidation state of the metal cation is also same, that is +3. The only difference is that we are having a cobalt metal in this case and then a rhodium here and finally an iridium type of metal ion in the last case, right? So I want to tell you people here that where the cobalt actually belongs to the first transition series, rhodium belongs to second and the iridium belongs to the third transition series, right? And the electronic configuration for cobalt +3 will be 3d6, rhodium +3 will be 4d6, and for iridium +3 it will be 5d6. Okay, so this means the d electrons in case of the first complex, I mean this one here, they are present in the 3d orbitals, right? In the second case, the 6 electrons are present in the 4d orbitals, and in the last case, I mean the third case here, the 6 d electrons are present in the 5d orbitals, right? And you people already know that if we compare the 3d orbital with that of 4d and 5d in terms of size, we can say that the 5d orbitals are having larger size and the 3d orbitals will be having the smaller size here, right? And which you can see in these three diagrams. I have shown that the central metal ion is having all the d orbitals here. I mean dxy, yz, zx, x square minus y square as well as the dz square. Okay, I have shown all these d orbitals in a single diagram, and as we are moving from here to here and then from here to here, what is happening? The d electrons are going from 3d to 4d and then to the 5d type of d orbitals, as well as the size of the d orbitals is also increasing, which you can see in these diagrams, right? So here the d orbitals are having a smaller size, here the size is moderate, and in the last case, I mean this, they are having the largest size among these three examples here, right? So now what is going to happen is, of course, in this case, I mean the iridium case, the larger size of the d orbitals will be having large amount of interactions with the incoming ligands here, right? The interactions in between the ligands as well as the large d orbitals here will be large, right? And thus larger will be the repulsions and larger will be the amount of splitting, which is proved from this amount here, that the crystal field splitting in this complex is approximately 41,000 centimeter inverse. Okay, and in this case, as the size is decreasing, the repulsions with these ligands will also decrease, giving lesser repulsions and lesser amount of splitting, which you can see here is approximately 34,000 centimeter inverse. Okay, and in the last case, I mean the 3D orbitals, the size of the d orbitals is quite small, and thus the interactions will also be small, leading to lower repulsions and less amount of crystal field splitting, and it is about 23,000 centimeter inverse. And moreover, please do remember that the metal ion is different here in all these cases. The oxidation state on that metal ion is same, and the d orbital are containing same number of electrons, I mean 6. Moreover, the total number of ligands are same, as well as the ligand itself is also same here. As you can see, it is the ammonia ligand, right? But still, the magnitude in this case is, if let us say this is the magnitude here, I mean 23,000, this much here. In this case, it will go up by, I mean from here to here, it will go up by 34,000 here, right? And in this case, because the size of the 5d orbitals is very large, so the magnitude of splitting here will also be very high, right? And it is 41,000 centimeter inverse, right? So this means that the magnitude of crystal field splitting also depend upon the type of d orbitals and whether they are having a small size or they are having a large size, and it all depends upon whether the metal atom belongs to the first, second or the third transition series. And lastly, the geometry of the complex also affect the magnitude of crystal field splitting. So we will be taking the case of cobalt 2 complex here. You can see here the ligand is exactly same. It is the ammonia ligand. The metal ion is same, as well as the oxidation state in which the metal ion is present. Okay, the only difference is what, that in this case the number of ligands are 4. Let us say it is having a tetrahedral type of geometry, such that it will be having this type of splitting pattern, right? In this case, the number of ligands are 6. It will be having octahedral geometry, and the splitting pattern will be in this way, in which Eg will be above and T2g set of orbitals will be lying low in energy. On the other hand, in tetrahedral, we know that the three orbitals, that is dxy, yz and zx, means the T2 set of orbitals, it will be lying above the barycenter line, and these two orbitals, I mean the E set of orbitals, will be lying towards the downside of the barycenter line. Okay, and now experimentally I have some values here which you can see. In this case, the magnitude of crystal field splitting is 5900. On the other hand, in this case, it is approximately double of this value, and it is 10,200, right? So we can say here that this magnitude of crystal field splitting, it also depends upon the geometry of the complex. Okay, and now why it is happening, we can say here that the number of ligands, they are more here in this case, I mean 6. So they will be producing a strong field, right? And in this case, because the number of ligands are low, I mean 4. So because the ligand is same here, and it is only the matter of numbers here. So in this case, the ligand will be less strong, leading to less magnitude of crystal field splitting, and in this case, high magnitude of crystal field splitting. Okay, so finally, we can say that the same metal ion, same ligands, the crystal field splitting depends upon the number of the ligands or the geometry of the complex. In case there are present 4 ligands surrounding the central metal ion, the amount of splitting will be less, like you can see here, right? And in case there are present 6 ligands surrounding the central metal cation, the interactions will be high, the magnitude of splitting will be high, as you can see in this case here. Okay, so this is all about the various factors which affect the magnitude of crystal field splitting in case of the transition metal complexes, starting from the nature of the ligands, followed by the type of d orbitals and the oxidation state on the metal ion. Lastly, the geometry of the complex also affects this magnitude of the splitting in case of transition metal complexes. So this is all about this lecture here. Thank you so much.